that too. Okay, how I help him with the register and stuff.
You understand?
The register.
Shakwa, Bun, Walter, Ban Yawada, Ban Yasharala,
Amagwa, Barakwa,
Yarbakakam, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah.
Yeah, but I can count Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shah. That's the first Aliyah, or the first the first Aliyah was the first portion of the reading, broken into 7 portions. It's going to be Shakawar, Ban Walter, all right? Leviticus chapter 16, verse 1 through 24. Depends on context. You just going to be Yahweh. In the Torah, you just going to be Yahweh.
And Yahweh spake unto Moses after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron, when they offered before the Lord and died.
So we can say the Most High, or we can say Yahweh for Lord. And that's where we get the name of this portion from. After the death is what this portion means. Okay, Acharei Mot. So it's talking about after the death of Aaron's sons.
And the Lord said unto Moses, speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place within the veil before the mercy seat, which is upon the ark, and he die not. For I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. Thus shall Aaron come into the holy place with a young bullock for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. For he shall put on the holy linen coat, and he shall have a linen breeches upon his flesh. He shall be girded with a linen girdle, and with a linen mitre shall he be attired. These are holy garments. Therefore shall he wash his flesh in water, and so put them on. And he shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. And Aaron shall offer his bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make an atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord, before Yahweh, at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, 1 lot for Yahweh, and the other lot for the scapegoat. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which Yahweh's lot fell, and offer him for a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before Yahweh, to make an atonement with him, and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness.
Let's read about that. About that 14.
Okay.
And Aaron shall bring the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and shall make an atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself.
Yeah. Yeah. 11. 12. 16, 11. That's 15. This one.
Oh, all right. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from off the altar before Yahweh, and his hands full of sweet incense beaten small, and bring it within the veil. And he shall put the incense upon the fire before Yahweh, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. He shall take the blood of the bullock and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward, and before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times. Then shall he kill the goat of the sin offering that is for the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat and before the mercy seat. And he shall make an atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanness of the children of Yasharallah, and because of their transgression in all their sins. And so shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remaineth among them in the midst of their uncleanness. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make an atonement in the holy place, until he come out and have made an atonement for himself and for his household and for all the congregation of Yasharallah. And he shall go out unto the altar that is before Yahweh and make an atonement for it, and shall take the blood of the bullock and of the blood of the goat, and put it upon the horns of the altar round about. And he shall sprinkle of the blood upon it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and hallow it from the uncleanness of the children of Yasharallah. And when he hath made an ending of reconciling the holy place, and the tabernacle of the congregation and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. And Aaron shall lay both his hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Yasharallah, and all their transgressions in their sins, putting them upon the head of the goat, and shall send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness. And the goat shall bear upon him all their iniquities unto a land not inhabited. And he shall let go the goat into the wilderness. And Aaron shall come into the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall put off the linen garments which he put on when he went into the holy place, and shall leave them there. And he shall wash his flesh with water in the holy place, and put on his garments, and come forth, and offer his burnt offering, and the burnt offering of the people, and make an atonement for himself and for the people.
24. Yes, sir. Okay. Commentary.
Yeah, so this is basically going into the Day of Atonement, which is the day once a year when we would have our sins forgiven of us. And what's interesting is when he's reading, we have all these ritualistic things. You're going to do this and put the head and do the goat at the altar and sprinkle the blood with your fingers, and you know what I'm saying? But what's interesting is that when you go from there, right, look at the book of Isaiah. And we ain't going to stay too long because I've learned we're practicing our techniques of brief commentaries. Look at Isaiah chapter 53. You understand? Isaiah chapter 53, look at verse 6. Isaiah 53 and 6. And let's compare that to verse 21 of Leviticus 16:21, Isaiah 53 and 6. Okay? When we read Isaiah 53 and 6, it says, all we like sheep have gone astray. Remember we read that earlier, right? We have been lost sheep, Jeremiah 50 and 6. Okay? My people have been lost sheep, their shepherds have caused them to go astray. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. And Yahweh has laid on him the iniquity of us all. So on this person, all of our iniquity was put, which this person is talking about Yahushua HaMashiach. Okay? Yahushua HaMashiach. Now let's go back, but people say, well, no man can die for your sins.
Right.
But Yahweh said he put the iniquity of everybody on this person. I don't care if you say it's a person, or some people say it's a group of people, or it's all of Israel. Either way, somebody else is paying for your sins. People say that's impossible.
Well, the impossibility. Okay, that's impossible. But yet, what the brother read in Leviticus, all the sins of the nation was put on a goat.
All right, I'm gonna bring it around to that. So we're gonna bring it around back to the goat. All right. So the whole train of thought is the fact that the Most High said He's gonna take these people and put their sins on singular, one person. Okay. And then it goes on further to say, okay, over in verse, what is that verse, man? When it talks about their, verse 10, Isaiah 53 and 10. Yet it pleased Yahweh to bruise him. He has put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin. So somebody's soul is being offered up for the sins. Whose sins? The iniquity and sin of us all. So clearly some entity is being punished because of what we did wrong. That's beyond a shadow of a doubt. So to say it's Yahweh, Shai, is Hamashiach, or to say it's a whole nation of people, still making the same point. That somebody else is paying for everybody's sins. Okay? So now, let's go back into Leviticus. Let's see if this is something new. Because a lot of people say, well, this is new. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 16, chapter 16, and read verse 21 again, Shakawar. Leviticus 16:21, read that.
Leviticus chapter 16:21. And Aaron shall lay both his hands upon the head of the live goat.
And Aaron puts his hands on the head of the live goat. Read.
And confess over him.
And confesses over this goat. Read.
All the iniquities of the children of Yasharallah.
So this man gonna say he gonna touch a goat. I'll confess the sins of the children of Israel on the head of this goat. That sounds ridiculous, don't it? But that's what the Most High said to do. So when you try to say, oh, but a man can't do that, you
put a goat over a man.
You said a goat can do it, but the Most High can't use a man to do it when he just said in Isaiah 53 that a man was going to do it. A man was going to get all of our sins. Read.
And all their transgressions.
All their transgressions, read.
And all their sins.
And all their sins, read.
Putting them upon the head of the goat.
So, Aaron, the high priest, had the power to put the sins of the people onto a goat? And you want to act like it's something preposterous, idiotic, and stupid that the Most High put the sins of the people onto a man. Well, who's the prophecy about? Let's go to the book of Genesis real quick. Let's go to Genesis 3:15. Who's the prophecy about? Let's go to Genesis 3:15 because you got that in there. On the right side.
To the right.
To the 3, verse 15. Genesis 3:15. Chapter 3, verse 15, Genesis. All right, read that.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman.
That means there's going to be beef between Hashatan, the serpent, and the woman. Read.
and between thy seed and her seed.
Her seed is talking about the descendant that's going to come from her family, not Seth. It's talking about eventually her descendant is going to do something major against the seed of the serpent. Read.
And it shall bruise thy head.
The serpent bruising the head is talking about Yahushua stinging death. Yahushua conquering death. So that we could conquer death and not go under the second death. Adam had the first death put on him. But then that spiritual death, we're going to go under also if we don't come to Yahushua. Because he has already bruised the head of the serpent. Read.
And thou shalt bruise his heel.
Okay. So it shall bruise thy head. Okay. And thou shalt bruise his heel. So we bruised, Yahushua bruised the head of Satan. And Satan bit him on the heel. So Satan conquered him in that death. That same death on Adam came upon Yahushua. But Yahushua struck his head down when he rose from the dead, and he didn't go into the second death. He made us so that we don't got to go into that second death no more. Okay? So this is a man supposed to do this from the beginning. Not a whole nation. It's the seed of the woman. Now the iniquity of Israel, back to Leviticus 16, the iniquity of everybody was put onto this goat's head. And that goat was let go into the wilderness. But the iniquity of the children of Yashar'Allah was also supposed to be put onto the seed of the woman, which is Christ. Yahushua HaMashiach. All right? Hold that. Let's go to Psalms real quick. Psalm chapter 72. First of all, and these scriptures got to come out because we talking about atonement and we talking about sin, right? Am I off topic? Am I on topic? Am I going on a tangent? We sticking to the subject. Sin and sacrifice and atonement. And so Psalm chapter 72. Let's see who we're talking about. Okay? Let's read verse 1 all together. Okay? Who got it? Everybody got it? All right, he writing. Zion, you got your book open? All right, let's start. You start us off. We follow you. Give the king thy judgments, O Elohim, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. What king wrote Psalm 72? What's his son's name? Well, what king wrote Psalm 72? David. What's his son's name? Solomon. Let's see what he's going to do.
You shall judge thy people.
He's going to judge the people with righteousness, go ahead, and judge the poor with judgment. We're all reading together. Remember your icon now. We're reading together. Okay? Let's read verse 8. He shall have dominion from sea to sea. Your icon. God. We're all reading it. We're reading out loud together. Verse 8. He shall have dominion also from sea to sea, and from the river unto the ends of the earth. So can't nobody say nobody put nothing in, somebody twisted a word in there. We all see the same stuff, and we verbalizing it together. So we know what time it is. We grand verbalizing what time it is. All right? So now, let's go to the verse 13. Let's go to verse 12, okay? For he shall deliver the needy when he crieth, the poor also, and him that hath no helper. All right, so we see that. Now it's getting kind of deep now. You got to deliver the needy and the poor people. Okay, what about verse 13? Let's read that. He shall spare the poor of the needy and shall save. Wait. So do what? Read that again. Save the soul. So wait, you mean to tell me that a man can do something to save my soul, just like a goat can? So somebody been lied to. People saying that a man don't have nothing to do with your soul being saved, but clearly this verse is saying a man shall save the son of the king is going to save my soul. The soul of who? Of the needy. Going right back to Genesis 3:15. Because this is what was supposed to happen. Okay? Let's keep reading though. He shall redeem their soul from deceit. And so this man, this son of the king, is going to redeem my soul? Not a goat. That sounds like something that we need to understand a little better. How can a man save the soul and deliver my soul, all right, and redeem my soul? Okay? How is that possible? I don't care what the science is behind that. The Most High said it. I believe it. The discussion is over. Whether you believe it or not, whether you guys come to terms with it or not, we can talk about that. But if you doubt it, if you say it's not going to happen, it can happen because you already been taught that there is no Messiah. Nobody can save your soul from sin. Nobody can deliver you. Nobody can die for you. Somebody been lied to. Because a man can do these things sent from the Most High. Okay? Okay, let's read 14 again. He shall redeem their soul from deceit and violence, and precious shall their blood be in his sight. Man, so our blood is going to be precious to him. Okay? So clearly this is talking about a man. It's talking about Hamashiach, who died for the sins of Yashar Allah, that was prophesied to die for us way back in Genesis chapter 3. And all the way through the scriptures we see him resurfacing. But we're not going to go into all of that right now because that's off topic. We're going to stay on topic of redemption, salvation, and atonement through something that the Most High uses other than a man. She may tell the Most High going to use a goat, but he already told you he's going to use a man from Genesis. And he's showing you he's going to use a man from Psalm 72. But then when he actually uses a man, people say, oh no, that's not what that's talking about because the Most High wouldn't do that. We just said he was going to do it. He said he was going to do it. He said, what are you going to do? He said he's going to save people's souls. Now, Isaiah 53, they like to say, oh, that's talking about a group. Okay, even if it is talking about a group of people, which is not, but even if it is, they're still talking about an individual. And this individual is showing doing the same thing that this goat did. And that the group of people, if you want to say that, Isaiah 53 did. So you can't get around it. Isaiah 53, Leviticus 16, Psalm 72, and Genesis chapter 3. It all leads back to Hamashiach. Okay? A man that died for our sins. A man that saved our souls. A man that redeemed our souls. Now people say, there's no Savior but Yah. Okay, there is no Savior but Yah. But do not the scriptures call Moses a Savior for Israel?
No.
Matter of fact, let's go to Obadiah chapter 1, verse 21. Let's go there real quick. Same topic. I'm not going on a tangent yet, Emma. Same topic. Same topic. I'm just edifying from the Greek word or from the Latin word based on we know it's a Spanish word, edificio, which means a building. I'm just edifying. I'm just putting more bricks on the building. Will somebody get Obadiah 1:21? Read that, please. Brother, when you get that, who got that? Hebrew Hotline, Shalom. Who got Obadiah? Say Khan?
Hello.
Okay. Obadiah 1:21 says this. Let's read it together. And Saviors. Wait. And Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's, the Lord's. So why is the Bible saying save yours? Well, it means that there is no salvation that comes to us unless it comes through and is authorized by the Most High. That's what it means. It don't mean no man is going to be delivered to save you. It means that that only happens by the power of the Most High. That's what it's talking about. So when it says no man can do this, it means no man unless the Most High send him. That's how we get salvation. There is no Savior but Yahweh. There is no Savior but Yah. But he don't come down and say, well, yeah, you know, who did he use to bring us out of Egypt, Masha? Who did he use to bring us out of Babylon? Ezra, Nehemiah, and them. Okay, so when it says there's no Savior but him, that means that he controls the whole show. Right? He controls the whole show. So he's the one that's giving us the spiritual salvation through what he's doing for us and what he allowed his son to do. But he's the one controlling the whole show. Okay, so that's Leviticus chapter 16, verse 1 through 24. Now he had to cut up his garments when he went to the holy place. When he went to the holy place, he had to put on his garments, but then garments he took them off when he went into common areas. And this place he went to the Holy of Holies, he only went there one time a year. And that was on Yom HaKippur, which is the Day of Atonement. Okay. Now Aaron did his own sin offering first, and then he made atonement for the holy place and for the children of Israel. Okay. And he confessed the iniquity and the transgression and sins of our people and put them onto a goat for all of Yasha'Allah. Okay? So that's what happened. So the goat did it, and it was successful. So the Most High sent a man to do it, as he was already prophesying about from the beginning. It ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing new. Okay? Now, okay, Yaquan, come up. We're going to do Leviticus chapter 16, verse 25 through 17 and 7. Do you have anything else you want to add? You want to add? All right. 8. Okay, so Leviticus chapter 16, verse 25 through chapter 17, verse 7. So 25 through 7, which is the second aliyah for the Acharei Mot Kedoshim. I like saying that. Parasha for the Shabbat.
Amadwa?
Yaquan ban Parza ban Gad ban Yashar.
Amadwa? Barakwa?
Yabrak Shami Hawashar.
Yabaraka Kali Hawa by Shemi Hawashar. Leviticus chapter 16, verse 25 through 17 and 7. All right, read.
And the fat of the skin offering shall he burn upon the altar. And he that let go of the goat for the scapegoat shall wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in water, and afterwards come into the camp. And the bullock for the sin offering, and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought into to make atonement in the holy place, shall one carry forth without the camp. And they shall burn in the fires their skins and their flesh and their dung. And he that burneth them shall wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in water, and afterwards he shall come into the camp. And this shall be a statute forever unto you, that in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, ye shall afflict your souls, and do no work thereof, whether it be of your own country, or a stranger that sojourneth among you.
So somebody from Israel or a Gentile among us had to do no work and couldn't eat on the Day of Atonement. Everything shuts down. Ain't no joking, ain't no playing, no hee-hee-ha-ha, no working, no dancing, all right, no TV, no videos, no regular type of literature, no sexual relations, no kissing, no hugging, no touching. You know, you hug, but not like that. You know what I'm saying? So it says you got to afflict your soul, which means humble your soul. Bring your soul to a low state. How do you do that? You bring your soul to a low state by denying your soul of its own pleasures. Bringing yourself low. That's what humility is. That's what affliction is. Read. If you say, wait, I'm going to afflict you. Okay? I'm going to afflict you. Have some potatoes and lamb chops. That ain't affliction. What is affliction? What is affliction? All right? Suffering. All right? Being in a state of humility. You understand? All right, go ahead, keep reading.
For on that day shall the priest make an atonement for you, to cleanse you, that you may be clean from all your sins before Yahweh.
Now, we don't do this right now, but Yahweh is the one that's going to be the atonement for us right now. Read.
It shall be a Shabbat of rest.
We shall rest on that day. Go ahead.
Unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls by a statute forever.
How long?
Forever.
Inside Israel?
Forever.
Outside Israel?
Forever.
America?
Forever.
Argentina?
Forever.
Tierra del Fuego?
Forever.
Antarctica?
Forever.
Forever. What year is this? Is this part of forever? So we still supposed to be afflicting ourselves on the Day of Atonement. So anybody saying we're supposed to do this outside of Yasha'Allah is one, not telling the truth. And say it nicely. Number two, they must not have read from Tobit chapter 2. When Tobit was keeping the Feast of Pentecost on or in the Assyrian captivity under Nineveh, in the land of Nineveh. Okay, read.
And the priest whom he shall anoint, and whom he shall consecrate to minister in the priest's office in his father's stead, shall make the atonement, and shall put on the linen clothes, even to the holy garment. And he shall make an atonement for the holy sanctuary.
Atonement comes from the Hebrew word kapar. Kapar, which means to cover. So the Most High covers up our sins. Read.
And he shall make an atonement for the tabernacle of the congregation. And for the altar he shall make an atonement for the priest, and for all the people of the congregation. This shall be an everlasting statute unto you, to make an atonement for the children of Yasha'Allah, for all their sins once a year. And he did as Yahweh commanded Mashah.
So we're supposed to make the atonement once a year for the sins of Yasha'Allah. But if we can't do it, we can't do it. And you have to still go into if you're right in front of a speaker like that, it's gonna be too you know what I'm saying?
Right there.
Yeah, that's good, but if it's in front of it, it's gonna be too much. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Kalashara.
Kalashara.
Devar Yahweh.
Devar Yahweh.
Na'isha.
Na'isha.
Wanashimai.
Wanashimai.
All that Yahweh has said.
All that Yahweh has said.
What we doing here.
What we doing here. Pick it up and look at it.
So this one was just going over, this section was going over the cleansing yourself after you let the scapegoat go, and then burning a bullock and a goat for a sin offering.
Okay.
And then the scapegoat is released, and the person who burns has to wash themselves up, and then it went over the Day of Atonement.
Okay.
Which is when you afflict yourself.
Yeah.
In the 7th month and the 10th day.
Okay, calm. Okay, so everybody got that, right? So the Day of Atonement, once a year, the 7th month of the Hebrew year, which starts in the springtime, on the 10th day of the month, no food, no drink, no nothing. It's a Sabbath of rest, and you shall afflict yourself. Afflict yourself means you're going to deny yourself of your own pleasures. You're going to deny yourself of those things that make you feel comfortable, those things that make you feel good. Everybody in the world like food. Ain't never person that don't like some kind of food. It don't mean just eat psyllium all day either. It don't mean just eat, raw, it don't mean just eat raw wheat bran all day. It means shut everything down. Shut everything down. You afflict yourself. It's a day of rest. Okay, it's a day of prayer. And if you don't, you got to read the history. You can't just, you in America, and you don't know the Bible, you don't know the history, you don't know the culture of the Bible, so you got to go to other resources and see how did they describe these things being done. Whether it's Josephus, whether it's Philo, whether it's Maimonides, whether it's Akiva, okay, whether it's different history books that talk about us. All right. Now, chapter 17, verse 1 through 7. All right.
And Yahweh spake unto Mashah, saying, speak unto Acharei and unto his sons, and unto all the children of Yashar'Allah, and say unto them, This is the thing which Yahweh hath commanded. What man soever there shall be in the house of Yashar'Allah, that killeth an ox or lamb or goat in the camp, or that killeth it out of the camp, and he bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, to offer an offering before Yahweh, before the tabernacle unto Yahweh, and for the tabernacle of Yahweh, blood shall be imputed unto that man. He has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people.
So when we were in the wilderness, when we killed an animal, we had to bring it and offer it up to the Most High, and then we can go and eat that animal. But the Most High told you that when you get to Jerusalem, you don't have to do this right here anymore. The Bible tells you that. But the law tells you that in Deuteronomy chapter 12, it talks about it, I believe. We can look at that, some point in the future. But in Deuteronomy chapter 12, it talks about how you're not going to do this when you get to the land of Israel. Only when we were in the wilderness and we had everybody together in one area, we had to do this. So when you kill the animal, now why does it say a ox, a lamb, or a goat, which is a cow family, sheep family, and goat family? Why those three animals? Because those three animals were all used to sacrifice to the Most High. So that's why we had to bring those three animals. Now we killed a deer or a chicken or a goat, or a deer or a chicken or a quail, it was whatever. We had just pour the blood on the ground and then cover it up. But if it was one of these three animals that the Most High wanted to receive a sacrifice, which goes into the cows, the sheep family, and the goat family, Isaiah, we had to take those animals and when we killed them, we had to bring them to the tabernacle. All right? Read.
To the end that the children of Yashar'Allah may bring their sacrifices, which they offer in the open field, even that they may bring them unto Yahweh, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, unto the priest, and offer them for a peace offering unto Yahweh. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of Yahweh at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and burn the fat for a sweet savor unto Yahweh. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a-whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generation.
All right, so you didn't even offer no more unto devils, because we did used to offer our sacrifices to devils. And we also had to burn the fat. Okay, everybody got that? All right, so any commentary on that? Is it pretty clear, straightforward?
Pretty good.
Okay, so now, let's say Aliyah or Aliyah 3. Let's have a revisit from Yadiyah. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 8 through 21 of chapter 18. All right.
Yeah.
Bar. Kabar.
Bar. Yahweh. Bar. Yashal.
Amadwa. Barakwa.
Yeah. Baraka. Yahweh. Basha. Yahweh.
Yeah, Baraka Yahweh Basha Yahweh. So we're going to read Leviticus chapter 17, verse 8. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 8. Okay? And we're going to go to chapter 18, verse 21. So 8 to the next chapter, verse 21. So 8 to 21. Okay? Quara, read.
And thou shalt say unto them, whatsoever man there be of the house of Yashar'Allah, or of the strangers which sojourn among you, that offereth a burnt offering or sacrifice, and bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to offer it unto Yahweh, even that man shall be cut off from among his people.
Now, two things we want to show. He said, whenever man be of the house of Israel, the house of Yashar'Allah, which is all 12 tribes, we came out of captivity together, and we were in the wilderness. So who are these strangers among us that's offering offerings to the Most High also? Which shows you that when brothers say that Isaiah 56, when it talks about the strangers that can offer the offering to the Most High, it's only talking about the children of Israel. That's a lie. It's talking about the same strangers we're reading about in the book of Leviticus chapter 17, verse 8, which is the Gentiles that were dwelling among the children of Israel. Why? Because they had good sense. Anybody on the planet Earth would want to be around the children of Yasha'Allah. Why? Because we're the Most High favorite people. He chose us out of all the nations to be his favorite. He chose us out of all nations to be his kings and his priests, to minister righteousness to all of the other nations. You understand? So when you read the law tells you that everybody among the children of Israel could come and bring sacrifices, not just the children of Israel. If you was righteous, trying to be right, trying to be down, lived among us, and you were devout, and you were a stranger, then the Most High accepted your sacrifices. How do we know this? He just said so. He just said if you were a stranger, or you whatsoever man there be of the house of Yasha'Allah. Well, who's the house of Israel right now in the book of Leviticus chapter 17? Is it an Israelite and Gentile state of mind? No, it's the Israelites who just came out of slavery with Moses. We didn't go to China yet. We didn't go to Moab's land yet, right? We still in the wilderness. So the Bible says, the Thawrah says, the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn. The strangers that sojourn is talking about the other nation that was rolling with us, according to the Thawrah. Now, you can't pull an Israelite and a Gentile state of mind from Leviticus chapter 17. All right? Why not, Zayanya? Why can't you pull the Israelite and a Gentile state of mind from Leviticus 19? Zayanya? Oh, okay, why can't you pull a Gentile, Donnie, or Shakwar?
We were in slavery by Gentiles at the time.
Huh?
We were in slavery.
We were in slavery by the Gentiles at that time, and what else? What else?
We were going by our own law.
We're going by our own laws. What else? Why can't you pull the Israelite and Gentile state of mind from Leviticus chapter 17? Huh? Okay, it was our state of mind, okay. What hadn't happened yet? Slavery under who? Under any Gentile nation besides who? Besides Egypt. We hadn't been dispersed among the Gentiles. So if it means that here, that means that it applies in the future also. Strangers that sojourn among you that want to do a sacrifice. They want to do it, and they want to show that they love, respect, and honor the Most High. So they could do that, but they have to follow the rules. They couldn't just do their own thing like the churches are doing now. They're doing their own thing. They ain't following Yasha'Allah. They're not following what we're teaching. They're not following the Thawrah. They're doing their own thing. But we had to do what the Most High said. So who are they following? Because they sure not doing what we're doing. They're doing their own thing. Okay, Quran. Leviticus 17, verse 9. Verse 10, Salakia.
And whatsoever man there be of the house of Yasha'Allah.
Stop. Who's the house of Yasha'Allah? How many tribes they have? 12. Read.
Or of the strangers that sojourn among you.
Stop. So the house of Yasha'Allah is 12 tribes. Who's the strangers? The Gentiles. Quran.
That eateth any manner of blood.
So how are you going to tell the Gentiles live among you that he can't eat blood? So if you got a Gentile worker that says, okay, I want to keep the laws, commandments, and stuff, but I want to eat blood, you're going to tell him, no, you can't eat blood. Why? Because the Most High said not to do it. Does the law apply to a Gentile that lives in the land of Israel? Yes, it does. So the Most High is telling you specifically, you can't eat blood. Now that takes us where? Shakwar. That takes us right back into Acts chapter 15. When people say, oh, that's talking about the Israelites giving them four things they can't do. Which is fornication, idolatry, eat blood, and things strangled. But this right here is telling the Gentiles and the Israelites that you can't eat the blood. So they can't do that. So the strangers here is talking about us. Because when they kill the animal, sometimes they would choke the animal unconscious. They would choke the animal unconscious, and then once the animal got choked unconscious, it would die. And the heart would stop beating, then they would slit the throat. But you're supposed to kill the animal when the blood is still beating, whether it's with an arrow or whether you're shooting his throat, or whether you're cutting his throat. You shoot an arrow or a javelin at the animal, or you can cut his throat while the heart is still beating, and then let the blood drain out from the animal. So when it's strangled, they would kill it first, and then they would kill it with the hand first and not let the blood out, or they would kill it with some type of device, right? And then they would say, well, okay, they would deprive it of oxygen first. Then the heart would stop beating after a while. And then they would come back and say, well, now we're going to go ahead and kill the animal. But that's not how we're supposed to do it. We're supposed to take the goat, take the sheep, take the chicken, take the cow, cut the throat. Or you might be hunting, so you're going to shoot it with an arrow or with a spear or whatever. But the blood drains out first. Okay? They wasn't doing that. So now we see that you got to refrain from eating blood, whether you're an Israelite or a Gentile. Read.
I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people.
Leviticus 17:11.
For the life of the flesh, it is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. Therefore I said unto the children of Yasha'Allah, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall eat.
Wait, who's the you he's talking to? He told you, right? Therefore I said to who? The children of Israel. No soul of you. Who's the you talking about, Isaiah? Who's the you talking about?
Yasha'Allah.
Children of Israel. I already said that. No soul among you. All right? No soul among you shall eat the blood. So you was talking about the children of Yasha'Allah. Read.
Neither shall any stranger.
No, who's the stranger? Somebody that's not the children of Yasha'Allah. See how easy that is? Whoever's not the children of Yasha'Allah right here is being called a stranger. Read.
The sojourn among you that eat blood.
So somebody that's not an Israelite that lives among us. Read. Verse 13.
And whatsoever man there be of the children of Yasha'Allah or the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten.
Why do they say you hunting and you catch an animal that may be eating? Two things I want to say. Because you catch an animal in a trap or something, the blood already probably start coming from it, or you kill it afterwards, or you hunt an animal, which means you track it down and you kill it with something, usually at a distance. So the white men say everything got to be kashrut, it got to be, the throat got to be cut, you got to drink. That's not true. Because how are you going to do that with an animal that you hunt? Nobody catches a deer and say, well, let me hang the deer upside down and cut his throat from this point to this point. Nobody says that. So these are all laws that was introduced, over time to make us do things a certain kind of way. Now, they might have had good intentions behind why they did these things, but yet still you made these things laws to where anything is not killed that way, you want to say it's not kosher. And kosher just means fit. The Bible says it's got to be tahar. So it's got to be killed a certain kind of way, meaning it can't be strangled. That's what make it a clean or kosher animal fit to be eaten. Not if it's following these kashrut laws. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is that the children of Israel and the strangers sojourning among us were hunting their food too. Is that the first point I made? We were hunting our food also. All right? We were hunting our food also. We went out and we hunted for food. So everything we got wasn't just domestic, in the cage, and we're going to say, oh, I want to eat this goat, right? Sometimes we go out and get wild goats or wild deer, right? So the man that sojourns among us or the children of Israel, showing that they were among us, the Gentiles, and they had to keep the same type of laws that we had to keep. And they hunted and they caught other animals. When they hunted it, they had to go by the same law. All right, go ahead.
He shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust.
So when you got the animal, you had to take it and pour the blood out, and then put dirt on top of that blood. Okay, read.
For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the life thereof.
Go ahead.
Therefore I say unto the children of Yasha'Allah, ye shall eat the blood of no manner, or flesh, or the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off.
So you can't eat any animal's blood. Everybody got that? That means that when you, I always use this example, when you're cooking a pot roast and it's all bright red and you clean it and you wipe it and you put it in the oven, what happens to that blood? What happens to that redness? It gets drained out into your sauce and you're eating the blood. So you're supposed to soak it in water. You're supposed to soak it in water, soak it in salt, soak it with vinegar, then rub it off and rinse it out real good to get all the vinegar or the salt off of it. And then the food is going to change like almost like a brownish gray color because all the blood is off of it. Or you just put it on the grill and cook it, and that gets all the blood out too. When you cook on the grill or when you bake it on a rack where the blood and everything can drain out. Right? When you break it, when you cook on a rack, so you have to get all the blood out of it first. You can't eat the blood, period. Read.
And every soul that eateth that which died of itself, or that which was torn with beasts, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. Then shall he be clean.
Right.
But if he wash them not, nor bathe his flesh, then he shall bear his iniquity. Call Asherah.
Kalashara.
The Bar Yahweh.
The Bar Yahweh.
Nayar Shah. Nayar Shah. Wenat Shema.
Wenat Shema.
All that what Yahweh said, what we doing here.
Alright, so now let's go Leviticus chapter 18 until verse 21, and then we finish with this section. Okay? Now this is dealing with sexual purity. Well, this is dealing with sexual laws. Okay? Who you can and can't have sex with, but or marry. Who you can and can't marry. Because no such thing as the Bible is just having sex. You either having sex as a righteous act with your woman or your husband, or it's sin. Right? Go ahead. You remember?
I don't know.
Okay, 21.
Leviticus 18, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasha'Allah, and say unto them, I am Yahweh your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinance.
So all the things we're reading about, all of these sexually perverted things we're reading about, the Africans were doing these things, and they're still doing them now. Read.
Ye shall do my judgment.
Do the judgments of the Most High. Read.
And keep my ordinance.
Go ahead.
To walk therein. I am Yahweh your God.
Mm-hmm.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them.
So if we keep his laws, we shall live eternally. What keeping his law includes accepting his son as a Messiah. If we break him, we shall die eternally in the lake of fire. Okay, read.
I am Yahweh.
Go ahead.
None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am Yahweh.
So that means your uncle, your aunt, your brothers, your mother, your father, you're supposed to be trying to have sex with these people. Read.
The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
So you have people trying to have sex with their parents and with the sex of their children. Molesting, this is against the laws of the Most High. Or being a pedophile to people in your own family. these things are against the laws of the Most High. So Most High tell you from the beginning, don't do these things. All right, read. Incest. All right. Go ahead.
The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover.
Now we read about that in Reuben. Reuben did that, and we read about that in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, when among the Gentiles, Paul had a Gentile woman that she had sex with her father's son. And Paul said, you need to cut this dude out from among you. Okay? You need to cut this dude out from among you. All right, that was in 1 Corinthians chapter 5. You can write that down for those of us that are taking notes. All right, so 1 Corinthians chapter 5 talks about how this Gentile dude was having sex with his father's woman. Not his mother, but his father's wife. And Scripture say don't do that. So everything Paul is talking about, you should be able to go back to the law and see this is where he got it from. If you can't go back to the law and see where he got it from, then you have the wrong understanding. Because Paul's words are never going to contradict the law. Okay, read.
It is thy father's nakedness.
So Leviticus chapter 18, verse 8 says we can't lay with our father's woman. Read.
The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father.
Your father's daughter. Read.
Or daughter of thy mother.
Whether your mother have a baby by somebody, your mother has a daughter by somebody else. Read.
Whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover.
You can't deal with your sister, period, no matter if it's on your father's side or your mother's side or both. Can't have sex, can't marry your sister. Read.
The nakedness of thy son's daughter.
Your son's daughter, which would be your granddaughter. Read.
Or of thy daughter's daughter.
Which is also your granddaughter. Read.
Even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. For theirs is thine own nakedness.
They come from you. They come from, meaning your grandson and your granddaughter come as a result of you getting naked. So you can't deal with them sexually. Read.
The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
So your father's wife's daughter. Now this ain't talking about your stepsister. It's going to tell you who it's talking about. Read.
Begotten of thy father.
So your father got a baby by another woman. Read.
She is thy sister.
She's still your sister. No such thing as your stepsister. That's your real sister, period. Read.
Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
You can't be trying to marry her or have sex with her. Read.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister.
Your auntie or your aunt, your tía. No puedes acostarte con tu tía. Que es sucio. You can't try to lay down with your you can't try to lay down with your mother's sister. That's nasty. The Bible said don't do it. The Africans do it. The Egyptians did it. The West Africans do it. Read.
She is thy father's near kinswoman.
She is thy father's near kinswoman. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister.
Go ahead.
For she is thy mother's near kinswoman.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy fathers of thy brother. Salakia.
The nakedness of thy father's brother, which is your uncle. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not approach to his wife, she is thine aunt.
So you can't try to lay with your aunt, read.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law.
So your daughter-in-law, there was an African movie, well, several of them, but there was an African movie when the man was actually doing this. He was actually having sex with his son's betrothed woman. But when the son got back, someone was like, nah, something funny about you. I don't really want to lay with you. I don't know what it is. Then they found out. Okay?
Didn't Judah do that?
Yes, father. Yeah, Judah did it too. Judah lay with his father, with his daughter-in-law too. Okay, go ahead.
She is thy son's wife.
She was thy son's wife, meaning she had already been promised to Judah's son. And in this African movie, she was already promised to the African chief's son. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife.
So your brother's wife, which is your sister-in-law. Go ahead.
It is thy brother's nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter.
Now, all of this stuff is happening not only in Africa, but guess where? In the city. In this city. And down south. A lot of this stuff is happening down south. Read.
Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness.
Okay, so let's read that again. Read that again.
Stop it again.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not uncover the naked. Oh, select it.
That's right. Verse 17.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter.
So you can't have sex with the mother and the daughter. Okay? You can't meet a mother, a daughter, and a daughter. Okay, what they call that? What do they call it when you got somebody on a grand slam? You can't try to have a grand slam. First, second, and third base. Now you're gonna hit all of them. Can't do that. That's nasty. Okay, you can't even hit first and second. You see a mother and daughter, you gotta pick which one you want. You can't have both of them. Greedy. You can't have both of them. Can't have a mother or the daughter. You can't say I like the mother, I like the daughter. So the daughter, you know, well me and your mom, we had a little something back in the day, but that was 30 years ago. Nah, you can't never do that. Can't lay with the mother and the daughter. Period.com, end of story. Hashtag at the back. Okay? Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter.
Now, your woman's son's daughter. So if you got a woman and she got a son, you can't lay with the granddaughter of the woman. Everybody understand that? Now, that's no relationship to you. So you can't try to have sex with a woman and then anybody that's her daughter, her granddaughter, or anything else, you can't touch it. Now, her cousin or her sister, you can marry. Because Jacob did that with Jacob and Rachel and Leah. So Jacob married two sisters. That's totally righteous. Totally legal. Okay? If you got game like that. If you don't got game like that, then oh well. Go back to game school. Okay? So Jacob married the daughter, the sister, and the other sister. But you can't marry a woman, or even, let's not even say marry, because a lot of people want to get that twisted. Fornicate or adultery, no sexual contact, period, at all. I don't care if you was with the mother and you fornicated with the mother, you got drunk one night, and bam, how we get in this position? I don't know. Well, you keep it to yourself, I keep it to myself, whatever. You can't 20 years later see the woman's daughter and be like, man, you look good, okay, I want to get with you. Now say you married, so you can't say, well, I had sex with the mother, but I didn't marry her. No, once you lay with that woman or have sexual contact with her, I don't even care if y'all don't penetrate. If y'all doing each other favors, you still can't deal with her daughter, period. Now, this is real talk because you got people out there on the street that'll do these things and think it's okay. So that's why we have to make it in language that we understand. You can't say, well, Paul out said marry. I don't just mean marry, I mean sexual contact, period. Period. Read.
Or her daughter's daughter.
Okay, go ahead.
To uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswoman.
Mm-hmm.
It is wickedness.
Right, it's wicked. Wicked line. Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister to vex her.
So you can't take a wife that you have to her biological sister. Read.
To vex her.
Go ahead.
To uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime.
And take one, like Jacob couldn't take Leah and then take her to Rachel to make Rachel mad and uncover Rachel's nakedness in front of Leah and lay with both of them at the same time. We know he had sex with all four of his wives, but he couldn't take these two sisters and say, well, yeah, you sister here and you sister there, I'm going to have sex with her. I'm gonna vex her and make her take her clothes off and have sex with her so the other sister can get angry. He's saying you can't do that. That's what the law is saying. All right, read.
Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart of her uncleanness.
You can't have sex with a woman if she's on her period. When we look at chapter 18, verse 20, it says if you approach a woman, the Most High says he's going to cut you off from among your people. As long as it's put apart for her sickness, meaning as long as she's on her period, or as long as she had a child and she's in her 41 days of purification, or she's in her 80 days of purification for a daughter. So as long as she's still going through that, that's why you're going to go back and read Leviticus chapter 12. Because when a woman has a son, she can't have sex until after the son is 42 days old. Because 7 days, 8-day circumcision, and then 33 days, then she's clean. On the 41st day, because 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 33 is 41. All right, so 41 days, now the woman can lay with her husband again on the 42nd day. Okay? With a woman, a baby girl, is 80 days she's unclean. Because anybody had a boy and had a girl, you know the difference. Most people that have boys and girls, multiple boys and girls, know the difference. The body recovers longer when you have a daughter. When you have a boy, you snap right back. When you have a woman, you pretty much gonna bleed way longer you bleed with a boy. Okay? All right. So you can't you can't have sex with a woman as long as she's in a time of her separation. Would you read about Leviticus 15 or Leviticus chapter 12? It tells you when a woman has blood coming from her, the different time this happens to her. All right, read.
Leviticus 18, verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife.
So you can't have sex with your neighbor's wife. You can't lay with her carnally. Read.
To defile thyself with her.
All right, go ahead. To defile yourself with her.
And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am Yahweh.
Okay, so deal with the fires of Molech, okay? We had the dreadful practice of child sacrifice to a deity which the other people in the area that came from Shem were sacrificing to. Okay? So those are some of the things that we couldn't do. It was idolatry, and we were literally sacrificing our children. So the Most High saying, don't do that. All right, go ahead. Oh, that's it, right? 21. Right. All right, so that's it. So, any commentary on what you just read? Strizzy? All right.
Straightforward.
All right, so everything pretty straightforward. But this is dealing with sexual morality. Who you can, if the person is not on this list, ain't no first cousin, second cousin, third cousin on this list, so you can marry them according to the Torah. You gotta look at why the white man said we couldn't do that. Because we and our people were doing it when we were still in Africa, and the royal families do it. Because that creates a loyalty, and that makes people don't want to, everything is still family related. All the uncles and the cousins and the aunts, everything is still related. All right? You can marry your cousin, but you can't marry your aunts and your sisters and all of that. Women can't marry their uncles and their father's long-lost brother that he had by, the grandfather had a baby when he was over in Vietnam, and you meet him now, you can't deal with him. That's your uncle. Okay, you can't deal with that. Now, if it's a cousin, you know, all systems will go. That's what the Bible is saying, not what the white man is saying or suggesting to us. We're only going by what the laws of the Most High say. Okay? All right, so let's go to the next reader, which let's have, any volunteers? Let's see how many verses we got. Let's see, we got 22 to 14. Okay. So, you gotta go. Okay. So, Kahan, let's have you come up and read Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22 through 19, verse 14. So 22 through 14.
Kahan, by power of God, by Yahshua.
Amadwa?
Barakwa, La Baraka Kam Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah.
Yeah, Barakwa Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. Man, you can't give Israelites no warm weather, man. When you give Israelites warm weather, man, you gotta. Everybody decided to wake up on the sunny side of the bed this morning, just post up at the house this morning, I guess. Chapter 18, verse 22 through 19:14. Shabbat shalom.
Thou shalt not lay with mankind as with womankind.
That means don't be a faggot. Whether they call it faggot, whether they call it homosexual, whether they call it transgender, whether they call it diversity, the Bible says a man is not supposed to lay with another man, period. Not supposed to deal sexually with another man, period. Now, when you get out here, you're not going to be, when you get out here, you're not going to hear, you hear these different words different ways. All right? Now, you got to look at this word. The word faggot is not a bad word. The word faggot is an old British term for a bunch of sticks being bundled together. Which deals with two men sword fighting with each other, as they say in Jamaica. So these different sticks bundled together is what they would call a faggot. If you look in the dictionary, that's what it's going to tell you. That's where it comes from. All right? But now the biblical term is laying with mankind. Well, the Bible just calls it an abomination. So a woman is not supposed to deal with another woman as her girlfriend, kissing her as her wife. You're not supposed to be like Katy Perry talking about I kissed a girl and I liked it. And a man is not supposed to deal with another man like he would deal with a woman. So that's what the Bible is telling you right here. Read that again.
Thou shalt not lay with mankind as with womankind.
Don't lay with a woman like you lay. Don't lay with a man like you lay with a woman. So everybody's supposed to lay with the opposite gender, not the same gender. Go ahead.
It is an abomination.
It's an abomination to the Most High for a man to deal sexually with another man. All right, go ahead.
Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith.
Bestiality, you can't lay with a beast, because some people do that. Some women have dogs and hamsters and doing all sorts of nasty stuff. Horses and sheep and goats. All that stuff is unlawful. Because you don't know this stuff is unlawful growing up, man. Somebody got to trick you into doing some of this stuff, man. So they got to trick you into experimenting. You know what I'm saying? YOLO. You only live once. You know what I'm saying? So let's try it. So we got to be on guard to protect ourselves and our children against these wicked devices that Satan has created, making what's good bad and making what's evil and wicked good. Okay? Leviticus chapter 18, verse 24. 23, go ahead.
Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto.
A woman shall not lay with a beast. Go ahead.
It is confusion.
Go ahead.
Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all of these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you.
Which means these Africans were doing all these things we're reading about. So when people looking at Egypt and looking at Kemet and all this, that's what they were doing. Homosexuality. The Most I said don't deal with those things, period. Ain't no justification. Read.
And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. And the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants.
So the land going to vomit out the inhabitants. So America is doing and promoting all these things. So what's going to happen? The land going to vomit the inhabitants out. The same wickedness that they doing here, they were doing in the ancient world. Nothing is new under the sun. They're doing the same evil things. And the Most High is going to punish the people now, just like he punished the people back then. It's going to be a big, big, big punishment. All right, go ahead.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation.
Neither any of your what?
own nation,
your own nation, read,
nor any stranger that sojourneth among you.
nor a stranger. Who's the stranger? That's the Gentiles. So who's not of our nation, of a different nation, that came among us to sojourn, and they want to keep the commandments. They want to do right. Okay? You can't say the white man is evil, the Africans are evil, Chinese are evil, then they say, I want to clean my ways. I want to learn the ways of your God. I want to learn about the Torah. I don't want to follow the ways I learned in West Africa. I want to learn how to keep the ways of the Hebrews and worship the Hebrew God. And I need your help. Will you help me? What are you going to say? No? Because somebody said they want to be righteous. They want to keep the laws of the Most High. You're going to say, no, keep doing. You're going to lead them back to sin? Then you're going to criticize them for not following righteousness? What you going to do when a Gentile comes to you and they want to learn, oh, nah, you're going to go in the fire, nuclear destruction, you're going to hell and captivity. And it's okay, that's cool, but once you show me, I want to keep the commandments, and show me how to do righteously, I want to try. You got to show them. Okay? The Moses said, Yahweh said, we are the salt of the what? The light, and the light to the who? Light to the world. Salt of the earth, light of the world. And we're going to be a light to the Gentiles also, but Yahweh said, say that one. So how are we going to be the salt of the earth, and then somebody saying, well, sprinkle me, man, like E40. And you ain't going to sprinkle them? They saying, sprinkle me, man. If you ain't going to sprinkle them with some righteousness, they want to learn. Put some of that salt on them, man. Because the salt left its flavor, lost its savor, meaning the salt don't have nothing to give nobody, it ain't good for nothing no more. I mean, if you're an Israelite that can't give somebody no biblical, righteous flavor, he said you're good for nothing now. All right, go ahead.
For all these abominations has the men of the land done.
Man, he said it like 3 or 4 times, meaning the Gentile Africans are doing all these wicked things, right?
Which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also, when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that are before you. For whatsoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be cut off from among their people.
So Most High said, anybody do these things, their soul's going to be cut off from among their people. So we have to be very careful not to do these things, and warn people not to do these things, and not to get sucked up into what's happening in America right now. In America right now, it's acceptable to break the commandments of the Most High. Any commandment. Pick it. It's good to break it. Any commandment. Ain't no commandment America don't frown upon. All right? Well, murder. What you call it? Well, murder. Look, they frown upon it. Murder. What you call an abortion clinic? What you call an abortion clinic? Well, they frown upon bestiality. Well, how come it's legal in more than 23 states to get married to an animal? Denmark had a bestiality tourism pocket where you can come to Denmark and have sex with animals. Look it up. Type Denmark animal sex tourism. It'll come up. You know, did you ever read anything about in Denmark about them having a sex trade with animals? Sex tourism?
Yeah, animal brothels. They recent update.
And I really don't even want to talk about this.
Right.
But what is it? Go ahead and, because I'm saying that, I'm trying to show that people still doing this wickedness, and they were doing it back then. So break that down real quick.
Yeah, over in Denmark, it was legal to have sex with animals of your choice, and they had brothels, basically whorehouses, to promote this wickedness. Yes, this is what they did. Recent update, supposedly in their Congress, they trying to pass a law to outlaw it. Well, it should have never been a law to begin with. So, man, so this is what we're dealing with. I mean, this is Satanism.
That's what I really see Spot really run.
Right. But I mean, there's no logical explanation to justify such wickedness, but yet you hear it. So the next level after that is we have same-sex marriage, as you know. Pedophilia is gaining track, as you know. It starts from the educational section as far as saying that it's not a mental illness, You know, it's not this, it's not that, in order to give attraction for, you know, laws to be passed.
What they're trying to do now is they're trying to, right now in America, if you a 70-year-old man, you can legally have sex with a 16-year-old in America right now. You just can't get married without the parents' consent. But the age of sexual consent in America is 16 on a federal level. Now, what they're trying to do, a lot of states and countries, they want to lower it from 16 to like 14, 13, 12. And some Asian and European countries have already lowered it.
Right. Well, now, this is a sidebar, but in the same category, when you look at the laws of Islam and all the countries that practice Islam, they already have lowered the age of consent in a lot of cases.
Ain't no such thing as no age of consent.
Right. I mean, I don't even want to go into.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Okay, we look at the story. What was it? Khadijah was 6 years old. When Muhammad, 5 or 6, when Muhammad had sex with her.
Well,
got engaged to her when she was 3.
Okay, because I thought he actually had sex with you like 9. So.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Now, it wasn't 9.
No.
It was younger than 9. Yeah, it wasn't 9. You understand? So, right now in Islam, you still, some of these countries, that's pure Islam, going by Sharia law, you can marry a child that just barely got into kindergarten. You understand? So that's just, you know, that's wicked. So a lot of other nations are doing these things. So right now, so when we say when the Most High said that the other nations are doing these things, that's what it means. They are still engaging in these types of practices. They haven't changed. All right, go ahead.
Therefore shall you keep my ordinance.
And listen, if you don't stick to the Torah, if you don't mature as a part of an Israelite community, you will fall prey to this and or other wicked things that the Most High is against. You can't just jump off and go do your own thing by yourself. It ain't going to work. Only way to stay strong is by exercising your muscles. Only way to exercise your muscles, you got to have some sort of resistance. So you got to be around other people. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. Okay, go ahead.
That ye commit not any one of these abominable customs which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein.
Call your verse.
Verse Leviticus 18:30. I am Yahweh Allahayakam. Kala Shara.
Kala Shara.
The Bar Yahweh.
The Bar Yahweh.
Na Aisha.
Na Aisha.
Wana Shemai.
Wana Shemai.
All that Yahweh has said.
All that Yahweh has said.
What we doing here?
What we doing here. All right, you got to 19 up to verse 14 now. Go ahead.
And Yahweh spake unto Mashah, saying, Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Yashar'Allah, and say unto them, Ye shall be holy, for I, Yahweh Allahayakam, am holy. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father.
So he said you have to be set apart. You can't mix yourself with the world and do the things that they do. Celebrate the things they celebrate. Go and have feasts and festivals and parties the way they do. You can't do that. You have to be set apart from the world. You have to be set apart from the world. You don't have a choice. You can't just kick it and hang around with the Gentile friends. That's what Peter meant when he says it's unlawful for him that is a Jew to keep company with one of another nation. Because we can't kick it around Gentiles. If it ain't about this work and about this word, we ain't supposed to be around them. Oh, let's go out to get something to eat, and we're going to go do this and do that, and we're going to go to Dave and Buster's, or we're going to go to Kings Island together with my job. Nah, y'all, I really don't want to even be around y'all working according to the laws of the Most High. Because when you say something righteous, what they do, they stop their ears or they scorn you for it. When you're supposed to be keeping it. Well, that's your belief, and we have another. No, what the Most High said. That's your belief. We have another Sabbath, and that's your Sabbath, and God knows my heart. Nah. Most High know your heart. What they got to do with your actions. If you know your heart and your heart is clean and pure, do that which is holy in His eyes. You understand? And people are compromising. Do not break the commandments of the Most High, period. I don't care if you're going to get fired, go to the shelter, get thrown on the street, and do 10 years in jail. Do not break the commandments of the Most High. Period. It is never okay. It is always wrong. It is always sin. Suffer loss. Yahweh gave his life for you. He died for you and your sins. So how dare we turn back to sin and start breaking the commandments again? It's like a dog returning to his vomit. If you won't get a bowl of your spit up and eat it with a spoon, don't turn back to your sin. Yeah, that's nasty, right? But the scripture says a person that turns back to their sin is like a dog returning to their own vomit back. And a dog will do that. So we're not supposed to go back to sin once we repent. Now, the only way we can go back to sin is if we haven't truly repented. Because repentance means to turn from. We haven't been fully converted in our souls yet. You got to fully be converted and convicted not to do wrong, not to break his commandments. And once you do that, you'll be okay, Shemaiah. But you got to decide now, not tomorrow. All right? Tomorrow might be too late, like the Winans brother said. You understand? Tomorrow might be too late. So choose in your heart to keep the commandments now. The altar call, the church, the doors of the church are open. I'm just joking. So you have to decide now, not tomorrow. Now you got to decide, I'm going to keep his commandments no matter what comes at me. And then when you decide that, prepare for the worst, because now it's coming. That's why nobody going through nothing. They're being tested or tried, because anything come, oh, this bill, oh, I can just work a couple of extra hours on Sunday, or not Sunday, I can work a couple of extra hours on Saturday, come in and get some overtime. Oh, these pork chops on sale, let me get the pork chops. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, my new job want me to cut my beard off. Oh, let me cut my beard off then. You're supposed to be doing this stuff. Oh, I got a new job and they're going to pay me $50 an hour, but I'm a woman and they say I got to wear the uniform and the uniform is pants. No, sorry, can't do it. Can't do it. So we have to keep the commandments. Don't compromise. Most High is not interested in excuses. He's interested in action. James says faith without works is dead. What's going on? Go ahead, something. James says that faith without works is dead. All right? All right, let's go. Keep reading. Salakia, call your verse.
Leviticus 19:3.
Leviticus 19:3. Read.
And keep my Sabbath.
Fear your mother and father. Respect your parents. I don't care how much of a drunkard your father is. I don't care how much of a crackhead prostitute your mother is. Fear her and respect her, period. Ain't nothing your mother and father can do to you to make you ever in your life think about wanting to disrespect them, period. I don't care if your father left your mother when he first found out you was pregnant. Respect that man. Because as sure as your father left your mother, you know, 50% of black women, Hispanic and Native American women have had abortions. So you're going to be mad at your father for giving you life. You ain't going to be mad at your mother for murdering your little brothers and sisters when they was in her womb. So that's why don't even start picking and choosing which one you're going to love and what you're going to hold against your mother and father. Love, respect, and honor and fear your parents. Period. There ain't nothing they could do to lose that respect or love that you're supposed to have for them. And honor and fear. I don't care how bad or how good of a parent you think they are. Love and respect and fear them. Okay? Read.
I am Yahweh Allah. Turn ye not unto idols.
Turn ye not to what?
Idols.
Easter bunny?
Idols.
Christmas tree?
Idols.
Worshiping Janus?
Idols.
On January 1st, December 31st?
Idols.
Don't turn to idols, other things to worship besides the Most High. Read.
Nor make to yourselves molten gods.
Don't make little gods, little gold crosses, little gold crescent and stars, Islam and so-called Christianity. Read.
I am Yahweh Allah. And if ye offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto Yahweh, ye shall offer it at your own will. It shall be eaten the same day ye offer it, and on the morrow, and it ought remain until the third day. If ought remain until the third day, it shall be burnt in the fire.
So when you offered up an offering to the Most High, you had to eat it all. If there's any left over from the third day, you couldn't eat it. You had to burn it. So this ain't talking about, you know, when you have leftovers in your refrigerator. Right? Ain't talking about, well, I made this sandwich, I made this meatloaf 3 days ago. Oh, I gotta throw it out to offering to the Lord. Let me throw it out. No, I ain't talking about that. All right, go ahead.
And if it be eaten at all the third day, it is abominable. It shall not be accepted.
Keep reading. I got it.
Therefore, everyone that eateth it shall bear his iniquity, because he hath profaned the hallowed thing of Yahweh, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt not leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am Yahweh Allahayakam. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, lie one to another, and ye shall not swear by my name